I am sitting here right now in Utah from our Utah set. Well, it's not ours, but we get a chance to use it. It is 8 o'clock Eastern, and it does not look like 8 o'clock Eastern, I'm aware, but here in Utah, the sun stays out forever and then gets up very early, and so we actually have limited hours to shoot at night, but we have tons of hours to shoot during the day. So right now it's a little bit dry, a little bit windy. If by some chance during this live stream the wind starts blowing things over, I apologize in advance, please forgive us. But this is part of the awesomeness of shooting on this incredible set here in Goshen, Utah. Right now, while you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, start typing something. Like just say your name and where you're from. Ask a question. We'll try to get to some questions later in the live stream. But just type the number 1 if you want. But we love to get the algorithm going. The chat starts going. Starts telling Facebook and YouTube, people like this. People are talking. People want to be here. And what that does is it gets the live stream in front of more people, and some people who even haven't seen the show before. And they see it come across their feed and they go, what is this? And then we've had multiple people tell us that they came across the show because of one of our live streams. If you have never been to one of our live streams, if this is your first time here, welcome. We've got so much planned tonight. In fact, I'm not going to talk quite as much as I normally do because we have a big night ahead for you. We've got a few things that I cannot wait to show you. I'm going to give you the rundown of that in just a moment. But in the meantime, thank you for being here. And just a reminder, if you are watching on YouTube, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, making comments. All of that stuff really helps us. It really does help our channel grow, helps to get the show in front of more people. The same thing on Facebook. If you're watching in the app, welcome. The app is a great place to watch the show. It's a place to watch the show for free. You get extraordinarily good quality. And speaking of how to watch the show, there are so many new cool ways to watch that if you're new, especially, you haven't heard about. I want to make sure that you know that, first of all, this has been a phone app. The Chosen has been a phone app for a couple years now. And if you're, of course, able to connect the app directly, free and easy, to your Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, Chromecast, and you can watch it on the big screen, which is great, right? And you don't even need to give your email address if you don't want to. I mean, it's totally free and easy. However, Angel Studios, our distribution partner, has made it even easier. And now when you go on to Roku, Apple TV, or Fire Stick, you just search for The Chosen, or you search for Angel Studios, and you can now watch it without having to use your phone. And it is still free and easy, and still does not require an email address or anything like that. We don't force you to do anything to watch this show. So if you have not seen it yet on the big screen, please make sure you do so. One other thing I want to mention quickly, you can text me. So if you text me, I'm going to give you this number. I got my friend Chris here who's holding up some of my notes so I don't forget. Write this down. In fact, there's a few things I'm going to be sharing with you that I want you to write down because I'm going to be talking pretty fast. So text me at 214-239-1527. 214-239-1527. And some of my teammates will be mentioning that in the chat if you missed it. But here's what happened. When you text me, you fill something out real quick. Again, zero cost, zero commitment or anything like that. All this is a thank you from The Chosen and me to you for being engaged, and I give you weekly updates, behind the scenes stuff you can't get anywhere else, and occasionally I give little discounts on stuff, gifts that you're not going to get anywhere else, but this is exclusive stuff. And it's just a thank you. Again, it doesn't require anything of you other than just to quickly give your name and info, like your phone number and whatnot. And then it doesn't get sold to anybody, you're not going to get spammed or anything like that. It's just an opportunity for me to keep you updated and give you behind the scenes on what's to come. All right, so tonight we've got brand new gift items. We're also retiring a couple gift items that came up a couple weeks ago. And we've also got Noah James coming. He's actually sitting, how many feet away from me are you?
3 feet.
3 feet away, just off camera. He will be joining me in just a few moments. Going to talk about season 3, going to talk about the big video we're showing you tonight, going to talk about a big thing that's happening in his life coming up later this year. He'll also take a couple of your questions that you can send in right now if you'd like. But Noah James, who plays Andrew, he's coming out. We're also going to be this is fun. We're also going to be premiering the documentary about the 9 people from Gen Z, Generation Z, for those of you who haven't heard, who came from all walks of life, all backgrounds, including those without any faith background at all. Didn't tell them what we were doing other than saying you're going to be binge watching a show, season 1 of a show. They had no idea what it was, no idea what it was going to be. And sat them down and said, give us your unfiltered reactions. Talk about it, whatever comes to mind. And we just captured it for a day of filming and then followed up with them and just told them to be completely honest. And they were, and it was truly one of the most moving experiences that I've had in the entire history of The Chosen, and it is kind of the launch point for what we're going to be doing over the next several years with The Chosen. So stick around for that. It's going to be amazing. And then when that is done, yes, I am going to show you a brand new scene from season 3 of The Chosen. I am editing this show while we're filming. I'm also editing. Our editors John and Adam in LA are doing the first run, and then they send me the rough cuts, and then I give my notes, and we go back and forth. And episode 1, as of this week, is now what we call locked, meaning we have picture locked it. We have done all the edits to the picture that we're going to do. Now it needs audio and music and color correction and all that kind of stuff. But it is now locked, and I'm going to show you the opening scene of season 3 at the end of the live stream as a thank you, as a bonus for being here. So you are not going to want to miss that, and then I'll take some of your questions. So it's going to be a big one. So gifts, brand new gifts. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about what we're getting rid of tonight. So tonight is the last opportunity to get the red special edition, limited edition, Get Used to Different shirt. We just offered that, just started for a couple weeks ago, just as kind of a summer thing. We said we're going to get rid of them as soon as they sell out. We are getting to that point now. So tonight, midnight, last opportunity to get the Get Used to Different red shirt in all its glory. It's one of my favorite shirts. I love it. This is also the wristbands. We have 5 wristbands that have been in the store for a while, but they're only $5 right now temporarily. Tonight, they will go back to their usual $740 is the normal cost for these. But we just gave a massive discount of $5. No, I'm kidding. But tonight, last night, to get these just for $5. And then these hats are also going away tonight at midnight. Check this out. I didn't even check to make sure it fit. But this is the kind of really cool, got black and teal. These are going away tonight at midnight. So check those out in the store because this is the last opportunity to get them. But tonight at thechosengifts.com, I hope that Colin has put up thechosengifts.com as I've been talking about it. www.thechosengifts.com. I may or may not have Noah do that when he comes on. We'll see. But thechosengifts.com is where you get all this. And we now have a brand new item. So 3 of them, actually, including one that is probably our most requested item we've ever had. So the first thing is this shirt. As you can see, it's got the fish, the 3 fish. But here's the cool thing. On the back, check it out. World Tour. Check out the back muscles, too, by the way. I'm away from, oh, can you still hear me? Because I'm on the mic. So, come and see World Tour. This is the back of it. This is the women's version too, if you want to get that style. I'm wearing unisex, but the Come and See World Tour, Bethsaida, Cana, Capernaum, Chorazim, Sea of Galilee, all that stuff, and it's got some relatively handsome men as well on the back, one of whom is here tonight. But yeah, this is kind of an honor. It's a little bit more of a Gen Z type shirt. My kids went nuts for it when they saw it, my college-age kids and younger. And so this is like, when we got them in, and some of our crew and some of our team started like grabbing them. And so this is gonna be one of my favorites that we've done in a long time. So that is now available in the gift store. And then you may have seen the welcome mat that we did before that said Come and See on it. That's still there. And a few people were like, I don't know that I want to have Come and See on my welcome mat because it might invite weirdos. That hasn't happened. It's still a really cool welcome mat. But this one you might like even more. Check it out. Get Used to Different, this welcome mat. Now look, I will tell you this. This welcome mat is not like one of those cheap ones you just get and put there. Like, this is actually really amazing quality. I sound like a pitchman right now, and I don't want to, but this is like, we make a pact that any gift item we do has to have some sort of meaning to it, some sort of conversation starter, whatever, but it also has to be really high quality. So this is a super high quality welcome mat. And I think it's a really cool thing for, like, I don't know, I think it says something about your family, says something about your house. And so this is available at thechosengifts.com. And then finally, the item that so many people have been requesting, check it out, the mug. So got this really cool box that it comes in. And yeah, open it up. Here's what you get with this mug. So the first mug that we made, we've got more to come down the road. This says, look up. So what we wanted with this was, instead of just being a promotional mug for The Chosen, I actually wanted it to say something. And typically you're going to be using your mugs alone, or when you're at home. It's not quite as much like a shirt where you're out in public with it. So what we wanted was to have it say something that was meaningful to you. And so many people were moved by season 2 when Mary Magdalene comes back to Jesus and she's in shame, and she can barely look at him. And Jesus says, "Look up." And she says, "I can't." He goes, "You can. Look up." And so we thought that was a really cool just thing to be reminded of every day. And then look what happens when you take a sip. Says the chosen. See? Perfect. Just like that. So that when you are drinking it around anyone else, they can see what show that you love so much. So here's so this is the good news. This is finally here. Super high quality. It took us a long time to choose and get the really high quality stuff. But here's the unfortunate news about this. The supply chain has been awful. And so this has taken literally months and months and months to finally get to America. It was in California for a while, and now it's headed here, and it's going to be delayed, unfortunately. But we found this out just yesterday. So fact is, if you order this, it's not going to come for another week and a half or so. However, so don't be alarmed. If you order with anything else, so if you get the Get Used to Different welcome mat, if you get the shirt, if you get hats, whatever you order, and you also order this, you're going to get those other items on time. They will come within a few days. This item will come later, but it will be free shipping. You will not be charged for the shipping by having it shipped separately. So order it now. It will get here, and take advantage of the fact that it's going to be totally free shipping. We're going to eat the costs because of the delays. So I was really bummed to hear that yesterday, but you're still going to get it. All right. So that covers all the gift stuff. And now, speaking of gifts, let's bring on Noah, who's a gift to the show. Isn't that a perfect segue?
That is a good segue.
Yes.
You can see my face.
And look who's on there.
And then my face.
So one of the reasons why you're excited for this shirt to sell is because, of course, because his face is on it, he's going to get a little piece of sales.
Yes, so per my contract, section 4B.
Took you 3 years to demand that. But anytime, this is actually true, anytime that any of our gift items have the face of one of our actors, they actually get some piece financially. A little bit of like the calendars and stuff.
That is nice. It is nice.
It's been nice little grocery money here and there.
Yeah, definitely. I will not argue against
purchasing this shirt.
Yes.
Of all the shirts you get,
this is the one.
This is the one to buy. But this is actually a moment from season 1. Remember when you guys were walking through the wheat field?
Episode 6, right?
7.
5? No, 6.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is episode 6. You're right. Episode 6. But the Come and See World Tour. So anyway, Noah, season 3. So one of the questions that I just I've been my team texts me questions and stuff, and one of the first questions was, what has been your favorite scene to film this season so far? So carefully talk about it so you don't give too big of a spoiler. By the way, is he on camera? Is he looking?
Am I okay? So there's been a few. I'm very, very happy with the way that this season is going, and even when I read the scripts, I was like, man, I don't think people understand what's about to happen this season.
Yeah.
There are some definite, the highs are high and the lows are low.
The lows are very low, yes, but the highs are very high, yeah.
I think the most fun I had shooting for this season so far has been episode 8, the sort of final
moments of the
sequences of
so when you were at the feeding of the 5,000.
Yes.
And there's a shot that's one of the most unbelievable shots I've seen in anything, because I was standing at the monitor watching, where we had 5,000 people out in the crowd, and Jesus says, "Let's eat." And the disciples go out and start handing out loaves and fish. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Everything, that whole sort of once, people will see it obviously once episode 8 comes, but essentially the whole sort of sequence that sends us away. This whole the feeding of the 5,000 is just really, really remarkable, and also so hard to shoot. That was by far the most challenging thing we've ever done. It was
brutally hot.
So hard, but really rewarding. I mean, when you do something like that, I was flying home going, I'm so glad that that's over, but I'm so happy that we captured that on film. I think that's going to be truly one of the most special things the show has done so far.
Yeah. And it's not a spoiler to say, because it's from the Bible, that Andrew is the one who provides from this little boy the loaves and fish. So you kind of have the moment, the first moment when the disciples realize Jesus just did a miracle is through your eyes.
Right.
Of like, all we have is 5 loaves and 2 fish, and it's just this little basket, and then there's that really cool moment where you kind of open it, and it's like,
yeah,
more,
and it's so, to bring that to life in the midst of 100-degree weather, humidity, all these people back there, but we were all fed by the energy of the people there, and so I can't wait to see it. I hope it's as special on film as it was being there in person, because it was unbelievable to be a part of that.
Yeah,
and I will say also, the other part that's my favorite filming that we filmed so far was, I think episode 1 this season is. I'm really surprised that I don't know when you're editing this stuff all together, but episode 1 I think is going to be really, really special sort of Kickstarter to the season. I'm excited.
Well, because there's a lot of we resolve or continue emotional threads from season 2, and so you get especially a couple of scenes in episode 1 is probably more focused on Andrew than almost anyone, right? I mean, you have a couple of pretty significant emotional scenes. It's not a spoiler. There is one scene where you get to go see John the Baptist in prison and have a very powerful exchange with him.
That was definitely, I think, in terms of just like a single day, that was my favorite day this season. Yeah. So if that's not a spoiler to say, then that scene was really special to shoot, just because of the people involved. Small amount of cast that day. So
and kind of the formal handing off of him to give you permission to stop worrying about him and to focus on your new rabbi. He says, "You have a new rabbi now," and you're like, "How can I help you?" And you're like, and John says, "You can help me by like listening to him and following." So that's really cool. So all right, so in just a few moments, we're showing the Unfiltered Gen Z reacts to The Chosen, and you actually got a chance to watch this and meet the cast, the people involved. Tell us about that. Like, how did? Because here's what's interesting about this was outsiders, people who aren't traditionally part of the faith and who are seeing it for the first time, and that's a little bit your background too. When we brought you onto the show, you don't have a traditional Christian faith background. And you are reading a Bible story, and you're Jewish. So reading a Bible story that, of course, the Bible is almost entirely Jewish, but the Gospels are a unique telling of it and the story of Christ. And so when you first read the script, we talked about this before, it was like, this is great. It doesn't feel like a typical, like kind of stagnant, distant Bible show. And it's something that even you can connect with and relate to. So watching others who were in a similar position to you watch it for the first time and see the show had to be kind of cool, because the majority of our audience are believers, but we also have a large chunk of the audience who are new to the faith or who don't have a faith background, who just like it as a show. So I'm talking too much.
No, what I would say even too is when I came on to the show, like I think my first audition, I just didn't know, I didn't know, no one knew what The Chosen was. So I auditioned, and then we spoke, and I realized that it was connected to The Shepherd, the short film that you had made. So then I watched The Shepherd, and when I came back for one of my callbacks, I said to you, I remember, I was like, listen, I'm, my religious belief, I don't subscribe to the same beliefs, and I was so moved by The Shepherd. And from that moment, I was like, man, I don't think I said this to you, but I was like, I would be so honored to be a part of the show. Yeah. It's so moving, it's so emotionally engaging, and then it's been a long journey since then that I'm very happy to be on. And seeing, first of all, when we got to see it, a lot of the cast were able to see the Gen Z documentary. So it was one of the nights, like we had been filming the Feeding of 5,000, so we had been like, we were ragged. We were like, it was a Saturday or something, and a lot of us were like, we'll come in and meet the the cast, the people who are in it, have a nice little dinner with them, and then we may be like, okay, have a good night.
Yeah, a couple of them said, I don't want to stick around to watch it.
I think I said, I was like, I'm struggling to stay alive at the moment. I'm just gonna come meet, and then they started it, and I was like, well, I'll stick around, and I was enraptured by what I seriously, I'm not overstating it. I did not understand what I was going to be watching. It doesn't do it justice to just say that they're like watching the show that we all watch, Unfiltered. It's really goes into some pretty amazing, moving territory. They are so gracious with themselves, and they're just so open that I absolutely watched the entire thing, and then I hope it's okay, but I literally almost could not speak to them because I was really, really moved.
Oh, yeah.
I was really, each one I just was...
Yeah, they're so heartfelt.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And I had a man that I had a chance to have them over at our home, and just are now feel like family. Like they feel like they're a part of the chosen.
I was
family
like,
now.
we have to stay in touch.
Yes,
Please stay in touch with me.
Yeah.
It was honestly one of the most, aside from being an actor, it was one of the most proud moments I feel like I've had being a part of the chosen family.
Oh, wow.
Watching the documentary, I felt like so grateful to be a part of a show and just a group of people who would do something like that and create the kind of environment for that to flourish. I just thought was really beautiful.
Yeah. Awesome. Speaking of beautiful things and beautiful people,
This shirt, no, what? No.
you have a special event coming up later this year.
I do. In about 2 months, less than 2 months. I'm getting married in less than 2 months.
Yes, and she's awesome.
She is definitely awesome.
Her name, where she's from.
Yes, Norma. She's
Yes,
from
Norma.
Orlando, Florida. But now we live in LA. But
And she's awesome.
I'm very.
Got a chance to meet her a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, she's just as cool as you are.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad.
Even
you-
cooler. But, no, so
That's 100% true.
yeah. Now, unfortunately, it's happening during filming.
Yes,
so
that
I
is
can't-
also true.
I can't be there, and you're gonna miss a couple. We're currently trying to work out.
Yeah,
the
we're
schedule
shooting
now.
me out right now, yeah.
We're like, do you need to be there for the whole wedding? Because that day is kind of no.
I know. Yeah.
So anyway, I know Chosen fans are so they're so thrilled for the cast. Anytime there's anything like that. But yeah, in September he gets married, so we're really cool. Got one question here before we let you go, because we do want to get to the doc. And by the way, we're sitting in the hallway. This scene is from season 1, where this is where Nathaniel and Philip were standing. Like I'm sitting right where Nathaniel was standing when Jesus said, "I see you." Or no, I saw you under the fig tree. And then you and Shahar come running down and interrupt it and then run off. And then right around the corner here, well, this is where Jesus gave that sermon in the middle of the town square and talked about the shepherd leaves the 99 to find the one. And you and Simon were, and Thaddeus were standing there listening. And then we just filmed a couple days ago, you and Philip in this area. I won't tell too much about it, but you got a chance to actually speak.
I did some
share with the
speaking,
people.
yeah.
Did some preaching, yeah. Okay, so from Katie says, Noah, we love you. Your latest TikTok was hilarious.
Listen, that TikTok is getting some steam going right now. Yeah.
The Chosen TikTok page, if you just look up The Chosen on TikTok, I don't know what it's up to now. I think it's probably around 2 million views or more. But I got to actually participate, which I'm not a TikTok guy. But you and Yoshi and myself got a chance to do something. And within 24 hours, it had hit over 1 million views.
I did not understand what was happening. I knew it was like The Chosen posted this thing. I'm like, oh, okay. Had dinner.
Yeah.
Looked at it, and it was at like 500,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing a little dance.
Yeah.
Doing a little, yeah.
Maybe a little bit disturbing at times, but no, it just blew up. So yeah, we have social media all over the place, and we love to have fun with it. And someone in the comments said, like, Noah James always seems to know the assignment.
Yes,
or
understand the assignment.
Yeah,
which I take to heart.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Most of our biggest TikToks have you involved in some way. So anyway, thank you so much,
Yes.
man, for coming out
Thank
tonight
you.
for this. And,
Enjoy the rest of the night, and seriously enjoy the rest of the night. I really do love this doc, so I hope you all do as well.
Yeah. All right. So
Goodbye,
go sit
goodbye.
over there.
I'll go 3 feet that way.
Yes. All right. So let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, yes. One last thing before we show you the. You know what? I'm going to do that after the doc. I've got something really, really cool I want to read you, but I know that you're waiting to watch this thing. So I'm gonna get right into it. So here's something that's very, very important. I really want you to listen. So 9 people did us the honor of being vulnerable and raw, and following through on our request for them to do so. And so we consider this family, the Chosen family and the Chosen universe and the ecosystem, our public face, our YouTube channel and app and Facebook pages, that's our home, that's our family. This is where So many of you gather and talk, and we invited them into our home and asked them to be vulnerable and raw, and they were. And I know that I can count on you to be hospitable. And they come from different backgrounds, and they say things that you might not necessarily agree with. They've had experiences that you might not have necessarily had. And we've said from the beginning that when it comes to us as the show, when it comes to me, I couldn't care less about criticism. We've had some of the most aggressive and insulting comments one could see on the internet, directed towards me, directed towards the show, and we don't care. We're going to treat our guests a little differently. We're not going to tolerate people who are going to use social media comment sections as the place to litigate their own views or their own disagreements with people who they don't know. That takes place in the context of relationship. We have relationships with folks in our personal lives. We of course now have relationships with people like the young men and women who joined us for this documentary. And that's where we have conversations, including conversations where we disagree, issues on which we disagree, theological, doctrinal, political, whatever. We, as a habit, save those for within the context of relationship. And so I'm just going to ask you, and I know I probably don't even need to, but to be as generous and as gracious and as appreciative of them as they have been with us. And that not only goes for tonight, but it goes for the future. Because once this documentary is out, the 9 of them are going to be seen in a whole new light and be much more public than they've been in their lives, talking about some things that were very vulnerable and challenging and difficult to talk about. And this was not a tool for us to kind of bring them in and then try to convince them of something or turn them towards us or anything like that. This was we're just going to capture it and we're going to be honest about it and we're going to ask you to do the same, and they did. So please, treat them with the same respect and graciousness that we know you will, any of the guests to the chosen family. So with that, I'm so thrilled to give you one of my favorite things we've ever done. This is Gen Z. This is Unfiltered. Gen Z reacts to the chosen.
I have a weird feeling that it might be Grey's Anatomy.
I don't actually know your name.
I'm Jesus. Well, I did not expect that.
And there's a baptismal pool behind the curtain for any converts.
I just wish she didn't use religion to hurt so many people.
Maybe I'll die and go to hell. Maybe they're right.
She literally almost jumped off a cliff, and that was like my position.
I've never seen Jesus seem so cool.
That conversation was so radical.
Deep.
That scene right there gave me chills down my spine.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you? Can you see me?
I can't.
Here we go. Hi.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Adrian. How are you, mate?
So happy it's Friday. It's been a week.
So let me break down a bit more information about this project, because you know probably basically nothing about the project because we haven't shared anything.
I guess you can't tell me what the show is yet. I would have to wait. Okay.
I can't tell you the name of the studio. I can't tell you the name of the show. We are a global phenomenon television show. We are in every country in the world, but we didn't expect it to perform so well in the Gen Z audience. And we're like, that's amazing, but we haven't really been able to crack the code as to why. So we're like, okay, great. Let's do a case study, a blind case study. We bring 10 Gen Zers who are just truly being themselves, and we ask them to binge the show. We don't don't care if you hate it or if you love it or if you're like, man, it's okay, but it sucks here, here, and here. You guys just talk peer to peer. Like, we're out of the equation. We just want you guys to really unpack it for us intellectually, emotionally, psychologically. And we can just watch people who have never experienced our content before experience it for the first time. Like, we want to take the journey.
Any questions about that?
Utah time.
Gotta start the day with a water chug.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Nowak.
My name is Emma Russell.
Josephine.
I'm Jordan.
Adrian Jackson Gilbert.
Audrey.
Imani.
Chris.
I often go by Stevie.
I've begun the packing.
I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia.
There it is. We're ready for today.
I'm originally from Wisconsin.
Bye, bye.
A village called Cassopolis.
I'm originally from Taiwan in Ohio.
San Francisco,
I'm
California.
from Jersey and Georgia.
But I currently live in Brooklyn,
New York. I just moved there 3 weeks ago, actually.
I'm in the streets of New York.
My sister just dropped me off at the airport on our way to Utah.
I have no clue where I'm going. I'm a little nervous.
We've basically been asked to meet a group of strangers.
Binge a series.
Don't really know what to expect.
We don't know what the TV show is.
We are going to want to know our thoughts on the series and
Just focusing on Gen Z. It's all been kind of secretive. My biggest anxiety is that I'm gonna get there and this whole thing's gonna be an elaborate plan to get me to convert to Mormonism.
A fun fact about me is that even though I'm from Wisconsin, I don't like cheese.
Went skydiving for the first time on a whim about a week ago. Didn't want to leave this earth whenever I do and not jump out of a plane.
Where are you from, man?
I'm from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Out here in
Nice.
Utah. It's actually my first time on a plane and everything. So
Really?
I swear, when we were lifting off, I felt like I came out of my seat a little bit. You know?
I was actually raised on a farm, adopted with my little brother and my little sister. So it's a blessing right there to be raised with them and really get to know them my entire life. And we're still very close now.
I gotta leave the cult thing for later. I have 6 siblings.
I have daily dance parties in my room.
I just love people. I love communicating.
Love talking to people and just kind of getting to know their stories. That's a little bit about me.
Finally. Oh, my God.
Ooh, set the mood. Set the mood.
I think we are going to binge Ted Lasso today.
I kind of have a feeling that it might be some anime.
I gotta stop guessing VeggieTales.
I have a weird feeling that it might be Grey's Anatomy.
I know that it has a lot of impact on a lot of people all over the world.
The Paris Hilton cooking show?
Like I said, you know, I did grow up in a cult, but VeggieTales was like a staple of my childhood. And honestly, like I don't know if I really think it's VeggieTales. I just thought it would be really funny if it was. I would sing along with silly songs with Larry.
Something in the genre of drama.
A drama, I hope.
It's probably a drama.
That's what I think it is.
Let me tell you a story.
You think that impossible things can happen?
Miracles.
I'm so sorry. I don't actually know your name.
I'm Jesus.
I feel nervous, honestly.
It was incredible.
I need to know if we have a problem.
VeggieTales might have been more fun, but...
The man claimed to be God. False prophecy.
I don't know if it's something that's going to trigger me or make me feel hurt.
The so-called miracle worker?
Jesus of Nazareth.
Apparently something good can come from Nazareth.
That's not for you.
I was one way, and now I am completely different. And the thing that happened in between was him.
And so it's time. Let's go. I did not expect that.
You knew it?
I had a
religious.
feeling this would be that.
Really?
Do you know what the name of it?
It's Jesus, isn't it?
Jesus the musical. Everybody's been talking about it.
The musical?
I didn't fit that.
Me too.
Yeah, I think I've seen the trailer.
That's not what I expected.
I haven't seen the show, but...
So what are y'all's first thoughts?
I've never seen Jesus seem so cool.
He looks like a stud.
Yeah. I love that. I'm like, Jesus is kind of cute. So, how do you do that?
You need to close your eyes for a couple scenes. Don't take your shirt off, Jesus.
That one shot where it was just like Jesus and the boys just walking.
The squad.
Just the squad just pulled up.
My religion has kind of gone down as I get older.
For sure.
You know, like my belief is still there, but I don't go to church as much as I used to. I was born into a Catholic church, like very religious. And so I think this will be really interesting.
I feel like I'm more spiritual than religious. I feel like I had a really, Ben and I were talking about this, just a traumatic experience with the church. And so I'm like, I hope this is, I mean, it seems cool, but I feel like very wary about entering into that domain again.
It seems joyful, though. It seems joyful, you know, but it could get dark.
I mean, the man had a brutal death, so you know it's gonna get dark.
With all the different like portrayals and like different like teachings and stuff of like like Christianity and religion and like different like versions of Jesus, I guess, that I've just like seen throughout my life. I'm just curious to like see how this one is.
Your perspective is going to be very interesting, like very, very, very interesting.
And there's a baptismal pool behind the curtain for any converts.
So, have I watched Christian content? No.
I think I'm always a little wary of Christian media.
I'd say the majority of like Christian faith-based stuff tends to be cheesy.
And it seems like they don't put a lot of effort.
It's very white.
It's been more preachy.
Force-feeding them a religion.
From what I've seen, it's like, oh, well, this needs to affirm what I already believe. I'm not looking for something that is challenging.
I didn't want to watch that content because me growing up, I was an atheist.
If I see or come across a Christian movie, I'll just turn it off because I don't want to be like spoon-fed propaganda, to be honest, and I just can't relate to it at all.
I don't like have anything against it. Like I think Jesus Christ Superstar is like a pretty good like Broadway musical. I was born in Charleston, South Carolina, a month after my parents joined a new church. And that ended up being my cult.
We were poor. We lived in Newark, New Jersey, in the hood.
When I was 13, I saw my dad pass away right in the living room of our house.
Why can't you sleep?
I'm scared.
I experienced a lot of stress and anxiety about not fitting in.
What do we do when we are scared?
We say the words, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine."
You are mine. That's right.
Demons live inside her.
You know, I go to church maybe once a year. You know, I'm not deeply into the faith. I'm not deeply educated.
My name is Quintus. I'm the praetor of Capernaum.
And I am.
You're the great Nicodemus.
I was raised Catholic, and I still am. I actually have a necklace of the Sacred Heart.
I miss it. Honestly, in a lot of conversations with friends, I'll mention random Bible stories, or I'll be like, I'm being such a Martha right now. I just want to be more of a Mary. And people will be like, what?
You help me. I will help the Pharisees continue to thrive.
Me growing up, I didn't really believe in God like that. I really didn't want to believe in God like that because I felt like, you know, my skin color alone was already different.
Not you. But it's me that don't want to be seen with you, tax man.
Christian content and Christian people in general, you know, not all of them, but some of them are very, very religious and like, you know, earrings like this, like a guy wearing earrings like this, you know, would a guy be wearing earrings like this? I don't know. I like them.
Why are our Jewish brethren taking their boats to sea on Shabbat?
Some of those early Nicodemus scenes, I just like was getting crisp flashbacks to cult moments.
I'm here about a Hebrew woman in the Red Quarter.
Around 10 years old, my mom started going to church really often. I just remember the pastor always saying, like, if you come up and get prayed for, you'll get a house, you'll get a new car. And to me, it just felt so manipulative, and I just could not get jiggy with it.
Seriously, I can only take maybe 2. 1. One more punch.
He says he's had it!
Your account is therefore delinquent by 40 days. As collateral, you've listed a fishing vessel.
What my brother didn't mention was our arrangement with Quintus. Don't speak, just walk. They don't get the tax because we don't report any Shabbat catches. So I tell them, if he took me straight to Quintus, I'd let them know who caught more in one night than the guy they're arresting catches in a week.
You offered to turn in fishermen.
No, not fishermen, merchants.
I come from Indonesia. Halo, nama saya Audrey, which is like, hello, my name is Audrey. Coming to the States for the first time, I was like, wow, this is like incredibly new. And it was really difficult.
Spawn of Beelzebub, Abaddon and Sheol.
We are not afraid of you. You have no power here, teacher.
And when I was 15, my biological dad was murdered. Life kept trying to just throw me down like this well.
By the time I was in 3rd or 4th grade, I was having pretty severe mental health issues. I was having suicidal ideation and depression and anxiety. I didn't want to go to school most days.
I saw my dad take his last breath as he looked at me. And that kind of really changed things in my life. I've struggled a lot with mental health issues, teetering on the brink of thinking, what is the point of life? Why am I even still here? Do I even want to still be here?
Yesterday, November 15th, was actually like one of the hardest days of my life, like 5 years ago. I think I had such a struggle with religion because I thought, or I believed, that I do have to do good things first or be good, and then like I'm safe and then I'm loved. I just was continuously serving people up to an extent where I just could not serve anymore. But I kept on going because I thought that God wanted me to do it. So I called 2 suicide hotlines and I was like, I think I'm gonna attempt tonight. And somehow their answers were just, for me, unsatisfactory. Like they were just like curt and short, which is not what a suicide hotline is supposed to be. And then I texted this like the national text thing, and I told her about it. And as I was going to do that, the national text hotline basically disconnected because I didn't see my phone for like 5 minutes. She thought that I attempted, and then she like sent the cops to my dorm. And so I like hear these cops knocking my dorm. They were like, "What's she doing inside?" And I was like, oh, shoot, like no, I can't.
I'm sorry, Lilith.
Give me that, please. I said leave me.
It's not for you.
Don't touch me. Leave me alone.
Mary. Mary of Magdala.
How do you know my name?
Thus says the Lord who created you. I have called you by name. You are mine.
All right.
Wow.
That was intense.
That was so great.
I like the Game of Thrones medieval vibe.
Yeah.
I think that makes it interesting.
The way Jesus entered, unreal.
I mean-
like, just
Was he gonna do less?
that was, and they wrapped it around to her father.
Yeah. I really like how it felt relevant, like the mental health issues that she was going through, like,
Yeah.
or what could be seen as mental health issues today, and just so many people giving up on her, and that's why it really struck home for her, because someone cared enough to say, like, I see you, you know, instead of like the problems that she was going through.
I deal with mental health issues being somebody who's bipolar, which back in the day, they used to think bipolar people were possessed. But the thing is, I thought it was really interesting when he comes in, he puts his hands on her head as if he's healing her brain.
See, I'm liking the side that they're showing that, you know, the rich side of things and the poor side of things. And you can really, like, you know, really feel for both sides and see where they're coming from in that sense. Like,
I feel bad for the tax man.
the tax
Everybody
man,
hates him.
he's nervous.
I don't feel
He
bad
don't
for
want to
him.
go nowhere.
I mean,
He
that's
signed up for
relevant.
that job. He could quit any day.
Yeah.
He don't
But
want to
likes
go
his money.
nowhere. But then you saw the kind of style where, you know, he stepped in the dung and then he threw him away real quick. Like, he didn't care. Like, he, you know, and that's kind of crazy to me.
I think it was Saul, the guy the fisherman. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, you're kind of a snitch. Like, you sold out your own people just to
Simon,
get
yeah.
by. But then on the other hand, like, you're gonna lose everything.
Nobody ever talks about how desperate you can get when you're trying to save yourself or someone you care about.
When you're backed into a corner.
Exactly.
This is my old high school. And I was real uncomfortable in my skin because, you know, this town and being raised on a farm, it was kind of a weird narrative. And we didn't have any say in it. You know, we didn't get told, you know, you're getting thrown into foster care and the three of you are going to live with this white lady that you don't even know on a farm. And, you know, stay there. I was kind of like a jokester. I was always making fun of myself to kind of make up for being black. This is my mom's house right here. That's the barn. This is where I grew up. It looks completely different. These were 200, 300 foot tall pine trees. They were like way up there. We had horses in here, we had horses in there.
Growing up, we didn't have a lot of the things that a lot of people in this town had. We had, you know, just the bare minimum. I was a big schemer back then, and I schemed a lot. So things that I just felt like I didn't have or wasn't able to have, and I didn't see myself having, so let's steal it instead. I used to steal a lot of phones, you know, and then take them and jailbreak it and then resell it to somebody else. Headphones, jewelry, you know, I was taking just random stuff, people's clothes, sweatshirts.
Why should I not kill you both?
I do not find Simon reliable.
Are you saying I made a bad deal?
Around for the table.
Buying drinks for the merchants. You fattening your lambs before the slaughter?
Those are brothers. It's my fault. A dumb kid doesn't know better.
I'm an emotional person. I take things to heart. I really relate to what I'm seeing on a screen. And so I think that I tend to wear my heart on my sleeve and I will take on whatever's happening in the show, and that can be upsetting, maybe.
Matthew, another unhappy citizen expressing his disapproval?
I'll be fine.
My favorite kind of scene dynamic in the show is between Matthew and his little Roman bodyguard.
You're disgusting. Go home.
I have a job to do.
I thought it was incredibly endearing to watch these like opposites really come together and find something that they enjoy about each other and almost a protection between each other. I found it very heartwarming.
How can you not have a relationship with your own father?
He says he has no son. Next.
I lived at that one right there, or the one next to it. Oh my gosh. I remember that I would always come from my mom's house and go to my dad's house and I'd be sick. And a lot of times I'd have lice or I'd be in dirty clothing or similar clothing to the one that they dropped me off in. 424. We had to leave there because there was problems happening there. My mother like brought men in that became problematic, so we had to kind of go every so often. From 5th grade probably to 7th grade, I would go outside almost all day, every day when I wasn't at school. And first off, I loved school because it was such a safe place for me. But at the same time, when I wasn't at school, I would go outside and I'd walk down the street to a local Tim Hortons. I'd walk to Big Lots and I would hang out in Big Lots all the time. And there's Big Lots, yeah, still down there. It was a safe spot. There was nobody there I didn't think was gonna hurt me. There was nobody there that was mean to me. You know, they might not have known my home life or what exactly was happening or anything like that, but they kind of were like, I think she needs a friend, or I think something's going on, and I think that they did that.
How long after my visit did you feel the change?
It wasn't anything you did. It was someone else. I was one way. And now I am completely different. And the thing that happened in between was him.
So meant that you were even hosting Shabbat dinner.
I don't understand what's happening.
Just be honest, bro. That's your girl.
You need to work tonight.
You need to work on Shabbat.
And God completed on the 7th day his work that he did. For thereon he abstained from all the work that God created to do. Blessed are you, Lord our God.
You have lovingly and willingly given us your
You have lovingly and willingly given us your Shabbat in memory of the exodus from Egypt.
Oh, what?
Very cool.
That seemed like a short
I
episode.
loved that episode.
I was surprised. That's why I wasn't expecting it to end.
Yeah, me neither.
Am I the only person who almost teared up in that scene with Mary and Nicodemus?
Oh my gosh, get me started.
Deep.
I was like,
I
Nicodemus,
really
no.
love that part. I really respected him in that scene because
he wasn't like,
he was very humble about it.
And to see Nicodemus, this man at such a high level, sit there and question himself, question what's going on around him, question his faith, it's so comforting. I feel like as a viewer, it's so comforting to see because you're like, oh, somebody like that can question it, so can I.
I love the whole aspect of just bringing in people for, you know, big meals. It kind of brings me back to home. It's like in Alabama, my neighbors are like my family.
It reminded me, personally, my family is in Taiwan. I don't have any close family here. And it reminded me a lot of like Thanksgiving time when I'm here over the holidays in the US on my own. I get really jealous of everybody getting to go back to their families and, you know, have this big, nice, fancy dinner, and I'm always, some family friend usually takes me in, but it does kind of feel like I'm like nomadic a little. Everybody else had this like scrappy, put together family. Seeing that like what was held so preciously and dearly was like the pieced together Thanksgiving, was really cool to me. Yeah, and it was a great thematic episode. It was so intense to be dropped into a group where everyone had such a complex relationship with God and with Christianity. I was really defensive. I was really closed off and skeptical. I was going through a lot at the time with my family, and there were just parts of myself that I feel like I couldn't let go of. I had to be a little defensive to like protect a part of myself. I was sitting there really questioning everything everybody was saying. I felt okay with that because I really felt like it was okay to like save a part of myself for myself and not have to give everything to the people there and to the cameras. It's so hard in the process of finding the truth
to be able to share where you are on that journey with anyone, because honestly, sometimes it's embarrassing.
I'll be by the stream.
Do not swim.
I won't.
I was born in Texas. My parents became Christians when we lived in Texas. And then when I was 5, I moved to Taiwan with my family. So that was all the way till I was 18. And then I moved to Berkeley to attend college. Does everyone here have like a religious or Christian upbringing?
I'm non-denominational Christian.
A lot of my childhood was being afraid. I didn't measure up to what my mom wanted me to be.
Can I play with Joshua tomorrow?
Only after you finish your chores.
I know. I will get it all done first.
Don't interrupt.
I'm sorry.
For so much of my childhood, it felt like I was the parent of the family who had to account for what was going to make her upset and then try to find various ways to avoid like her rage.
And where will you go?
Just the field. And there was one tool I've never seen before. I don't know what it's for. I think he was building stuff.
So pretty.
Abigail reminded me so much of my daughter. Like, she just asked so many questions and I try to answer them perfectly and try to give her as much information as I can.
And there was some food too, but even though I was hungry, I didn't take any because that would be wrong, but maybe we could take a little bit this time.
And I love to see all the kids playing. It just took me back like 10 years, 15 years, like just being from a large family. You know, I miss it. It's one of those things where you don't get that time to go outside and run around and, you know, really enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't see a sword or anything like that, so I don't think it'd kill us, and he seemed nice.
It's probably like my first vivid memory of the pastor who founded the church was him coming over to us and going, oh, you want to see attitude? I'll take you in the woods outside my house after midnight and show you attitude. And I was like 8 years old. I was like, what did I do? Like, I'm just sitting here. He seems to have it kind of made. I mean, the church makes all his money for him. He's got the nicest car in the church, nicest house. Like, they built an entire house for him at no charge. And it was like a nice house. That was the one he threatened to beat me outside of. I like just developed like a fear for him and like my dad, which I didn't realize until like I started going to therapy like 2 years ago.
And I pray that if there are ever 2 children who come visit my home here, that you will give them the courage to say shalom.
I really liked the scene where Jesus blew raspberries. Just because I think it's hilarious. Jesus blowing raspberries. like, Jesus wouldn't do that. Like, in terms of like the whole message of Jesus, like there's a lot of focus on like, you know, ye must be like children and you have to have faith like a child and stuff like that.
I started getting sick. I had epilepsy, and I went back up to Jersey with my mom to figure out like what the problem was and what the solution actually could be. And it was around this time when we started going back to the church we went to when I was younger in Jersey. Adults in the church and some kids my age who I don't know why, but maybe I was too nice or something. They started like sexually abusing me in the church. I was such a quiet kid, and I thought this was like punishment for like me being bad or like me acting out. So that's kind of what I heard. Like if you were bad, then like Jesus or like God will punish you. And I just remember one experience of one of like the elders in the church walking in one of the church bathrooms and like seeing it happen. And I thought it would like stop after that, and it didn't. And I think I still have a lot of resentment now because I trusted them, and I feel like they took a lot of my innocence and my childhood away, so that really hurt. And I think that's why I'm kind of terrified of going back to church, because I felt like no one protected me. And it hurt really badly. One second, please.
These are my other friends, and Joshua again.
Shalom, Abigail's friends. What if many of the things that our people think about how we are to behave and how we are to treat one another are wrong?
I'm getting emotional. I don't know.
See, I'm sorry.
Cry. It's okay. I feel like this made me really emotional because I really want to be a parent. I really try to lead with kindness, and just seeing that, I don't know, I got really excited, but also, sorry. Really sad because my mom is not a kind person at all. And I just saw that, and I just wish she didn't use religion to hurt so many people.
It might be this. No, it's the next one. Oh. It's this brown one right here. It's where I lived with him. It's just weird to look at. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it. It's just weird. When I think about this place in particular, I don't feel very happy about it. I can't think of positive memories, really. My mother was gone a lot, and my older sister was, I think the best way to say it, kind of a tormentor. I was scared to be left alone with her. She would tell me she was gonna kill me, and would grab knives and bring them into her room to mess with me and pretend like she was gonna kill me. And I was just a high schooler, and I was scared. So, and because when she would get mad and she would throw me around or hit me and stuff, I couldn't really stop it. And I believed her, because she was so serious in the way that she would hit me and do stuff. It would be so intense that I believed her. So.
Make good on your promises, dog.
My brother and his friend were out breaking into cars and asked me to come by and pick them up, so then I went and picked them up. Next thing you know, they're leaving something in my car that doesn't belong to me, and I'm getting pulled over, and I'm getting ripped out of the car and thrown to the ground with a gun to my head.
I owed taxes. They were set to take the boat, our houses, or give up a fleet fishing on Shabbat.
Thank you for your honesty, son. If I may return the favor, I'm shocked you'd even show your face here.
I sort of had to fall away from the church when I was in college and discovered my queerness.
Everyone's telling you that who you are is acceptable and you need to be yourself, and that's what we value. But in action, the things that people were saying and kind of presenting to me showed me that I had to change every part of myself to be accepted.
Follow Simon.
I'm not accepted.
Where?
Anywhere.
It was something for a long time that everyone had told me was a huge sin, and these were dirty, dirty people, and something was wrong with you if you felt this way. I would be in my bed and crying out, tell me what is the truth, and am I an awful person? And I just couldn't hear God's voice about it. And so it was so torturous to have this thing in me that I couldn't figure out.
I need a miracle.
Maybe God can get your attention now.
I saw him, the Lamb of God.
I related heavily to Simon's story because since I had to basically grow up so young, I was used to handling my problems by myself, used to just not telling anybody, trying to figure it out, just saying, I've got this, and ending up getting way over my head.
Simon, it's him. Put that down for a catch.
Oh, we've been doing this all night. All right.
Head!
Come on!
Help us push! Help us push! This way! Pull up! Pull up! This way!
Sarah! I told you!
I told you! I told you!
Depart from me. I am a sinful man. You don't know who I am and the things I've done.
Lift up your head, fisherman.
What do you want from me? Anything you ask, I will do.
Follow me. Fish are nothing. You have much bigger things ahead of you, Simon, son of Jonah.
I will make you fishers of
From now on, I will make you fishers of men. And you are to gather as many as possible, all kinds. I will sort them out later.
It's amazing.
It's impossible.
Are you the one they call John the Baptizer? I have questions for you about miracles.
I loved how at the end Simon was like, bro, I'm tired. I don't want to like hear whatever you have to say.
Yes.
And I feel like that happens a lot in my life, and I'm sure in y'all's too. Like when you're at your lowest point and you think nothing can get better, sometimes that like you do have a miracle in your own life. That's happened to me like multiple times.
When I was going to my mother's house, she would feed me for a month straight with lies about my father and my stepmother. She would say that they were abusive, they didn't love me, they told her that they didn't love me, that they had their own family and they didn't want me to be a part of it, and I was just a nuisance. So I would go over there and I'd be nervous. And when I was 12, my mother sat me down on her bed and had me call my father and tell him, I'm not coming back. I liked this episode in particular because you don't know what lies ahead. You don't know what path you're on. I'm a very what will be kind of person.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
That's what they say anyway.
Simon really is like really all of us and shows how small-brained we are. Like when Andrew had a lot of faith and Simon was like, no, there's no way. I'm busy. And that was so relatable.
And he'd even say that.
I'm always like, I'm busy.
Where you're at that point where you want to give
You're
up.
like, I've heard everything.
Yeah.
That scene where he was on the boat and he was like yelling at God.
Yeah.
Like I've had moments like that.
Yeah.
At that moment when he surrendered, really is what it was. When he surrendered and he was able to be vulnerable and just say, you know what, I've had it, that's when people really hear you.
It is funny though how it still took Jesus like speaking his language, like giving him fish, which was nothing compared to everything Jesus could do. But that was what finally turned Simon, like him succeeding in some small thing.
And it's, because it moves on to the bigger picture of he's going to be a fisherman for men. I'm in. I'm in this show, y'all. You're like, this is not what I thought it was going to be, but it brings you in. It really does.
Yeah.
When I told my mom, I didn't even say I'm gay. I said, like, I know I don't want to date men. Oh, yeah, I forget how awful it was. She told me it was like the worst thing to happen to her, and that she didn't know what I wanted her to do with me. I received a lot of texts from both my mom and dad about how I had destroyed the family and I had ruined my mom's life. My mom would pray at night that she would rather God take her life than have me be gay. It felt like I was the only one that was so rejected, and it brought back a lot of early rejection that I felt from my mom when I was young. And really like nailed it in the coffin for me that I would never be what she wanted me to be.
Jesus!
He was teaching when I found him.
It's too early for all this. If not now, when?
We need to talk.
So I hear.
What have you heard?
Nothing that makes sense.
He's the Messiah. I know it sounds impossible, but I saw it with my own eyes. He made boatfuls of fish appear out of nowhere. And the words he spoke, the one John told Andrew was the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world, it was him.
Perfect day for a wedding, huh?
If he's healing in secret now, the public signs cannot be far off.
Public signs? What?
They've run out of wine.
My time has not yet come.
If not now, when?
I'm ready, Father.
That scene right there gave me chills down my spine. Just
how so?
Just viewing him, and then, you know, he's staring at this jug, and he's ready to become who he's becoming, you know, and he's surrendering and really embracing the power. You know, when it came down to it, I called my mom. I tried to get the bail money. She told me no. I sat there and I wrote a letter, and I really poured my heart out to my mom and to, you know, really explain like this was just a mistake and I'm trying to, you know, make up for it. And, you know, if you just give me the opportunity, come bail me out so I can walk with my class. You know, she decided to really do some tough loving, and she never even replied. She never sent a letter back. I sent her 2 letters. She never sent a letter back. So I felt neglected, and I felt disowned.
There's a group of youngins that are here to take a tour of the Goshen set in Utah. What they don't know is I'm going to turn up.
Let's go!
Amani and Josephine from BBC as we walk into Jerusalem.
We got this set going. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We are at the gates.
So unlike a normal set that they'll put up for the shoot and they'll take down, this set was built in such a way that it could withstand the elements.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Mind blown. Oh over here, this is where we have the parties. You know what's going on? We have parties down here.
How much did this crib cost?
Oh my gosh, you don't even want to know. It cost an arm and a leg.
There's storage all through this wall here. There's a pottery closet, a rope closet, you know, a closet for almost everything that we need here on the set.
Wow.
This set will be used whenever we're shooting kind of the Jerusalem part of the story. And then in Texas, we've got the villages and the campsites. So this would be our version of the Pool of Bethesda. So this fills with water. We can also put a platform over the top of it and turn this into a courtyard.
Scared me. I'm like, why is that man holding me? Oh my God.
And I was like,
we're so excited to meet you.
Awesome. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Can we get a picture? This is like your this is like your second home, right? How's it going, Chris?
Yeah.
Jonathan. Nice to meet you, Jonathan.
Nice to
And
meet
I'm
you.
a hugger, sorry.
Stevie.
That passed me a chance to hug Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I'm a hugger too.
Damn, now I feel like I should have hugged you.
That's what I'm saying. We missed out on the hug.
You want a hug?
Yes.
Bring it in, man.
Bring it in. Bring it in, Jesus.
So we just thought it'd be fun to maybe have a conversation, me and all of you back in Provo, and talk about your thoughts and experiences. And how you feel. If you guys be up for that?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I want to go home.
I don't know.
I'm
I think my flight's gonna be.
All right, well.
All right, cool. Thanks for coming.
I recorded everything I witnessed, however impossible it seemed.
You did well. I also love the growth of Matthew throughout the whole episode.
I love Matthew so much.
Questioning himself and questioning his beliefs too, you know?
I was in high school when I started realizing what was happening around me and that I wasn't okay with it. And I started going over to my dad's on the weekends and seeing his family. And as I started to mature and age, I was realizing that the truth that I had been living by might not necessarily be the truth. Maybe he wasn't abusive. Maybe he didn't hate me.
You can make me clean.
Be cleansed.
I love the miracles so much. I think not only are they just beautiful to watch, but I think they're so metaphoric. Jesus doesn't leave anybody behind. So even when you're in your darkest moment, you can be like, I'm not left behind. I love it.
It wasn't jail that really changed my life. It was knowing I had a daughter on the way.
So you would place limits on the Almighty?
None that are not written in law.
And if God did something that you felt contradicted the Torah, would you question your interpretation?
I love the conversation about
Yes.
you have all these set ways of looking at things, and have you ever questioned that your interpretation of them is just incorrect?
I don't want to live in some bleak past where God cannot do anything new.
God gave us his law. We must uphold it.
We can do both.
When he said like to follow the path, but be open to like the wonder and the mystery and the new things happening.
Let's look to the ancient roads where the good way is and walk in it, as Jeremiah said, and still keep our eyes open to the startling and the unexpected.
Jesus of Nazareth, I saw what you did to the leper on the road this morning.
I have to shout out my girl who like brought her friend. I literally was like losing my mind because I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to see someone who looks like me in something as powerful as this. Just makes my heart so happy that like people of color can see themselves like this and think to themselves like, oh, maybe I can be like Jesus. Maybe I can be impactful, you know what I mean? Because we do not get that at all.
My friend has been paralyzed since childhood.
Keep right there. Make him move. Get his legs.
Pick up your bed and go home.
Very stressful on how much Jesus is getting attention.
Because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, like
it breaks my heart because he's like such a kind man. And everything he's saying is trying to help people.
Another one
That
down.
was my favorite episode yet.
Come to your senses.
I have never been closer to my senses.
I definitely am a Matthew. First of all, when he walked out and he was a hypochondriac, covering his nose, changing his sandals because he stepped in some poop, I was like, that's me.
Matthew.
But also, I think the scene with his mother really hit home. I think growing up, I knew I was intelligent and talented.
I know you are ashamed of me, but your decision is irrational. Rome will continue to collect taxes no matter what. I'm skilled with numbers.
Did you come here to justify yourself?
No!
But classic, Asian kid, felt like it wasn't seen by my parents or my mom the way I wanted to, and it was something that I tried for many years.
They thought you would be someone great.
Great at what?
And then realizing I was queer and then coming into that was like another extremely deep level of rejection.
Are you in trouble?
Do you think that impossible things can happen?
But in some way, that's really liberating. Like, when you grow up your whole life trying to be what someone else wants you to be and continually fall short and continually hear what a disappointment you are. At some point, it feels great to like throw in the towel.
Goodbye, Ima.
And be like, this is just never gonna happen. And I'm just never, ever, no matter how hard I try, going to be what you want. It's like, okay, then I can stop trying.
The human eye is drawn to light. We can't help it. It just happens.
There are many things we're drawn to without our thinking or our ability to explain why. Thank you for agreeing to meet.
Thank you for trying to help Mary when you did.
It was no help.
You were meant to be there.
Me? No one can do these signs you do without having God in him.
Follow me. And you'll see more.
Follow you?
I was realizing maybe the real problem was my mother.
I went to see my mother. Ugh, that would put me out, too.
So I started paying attention to that. And a couple bad weeks in a row led me, and a bad Christmas Eve led me to contact my dad and say, I can't do this anymore. I need out.
The mother of a son with talent like yours should be proud.
She's ashamed that I could use the talent that God gave me against God.
So we sat down and hatched a plan for me to move out and move back in with him. And I changed schools, I changed my phone number, but what was most important to my dad at that time was that I was the one to tell my mom I was no longer gonna be there. And I really resented him for that. I was like, how could he make me do this? I don't want to face this woman. And I faced her. I was strong. It was one of the worst nights of my life. And I had to face her a couple times after that, and I held my ground. And there were times she thought my dad was coaching me, and he wasn't. It was me being strong, but she couldn't believe I was that strong. And I'd grown up, and I realized why my dad had me stand up to her on my own. He wanted me to know I could do it on my own.
Must be nice to live in a world so simply ordered.
We live in the same world, Matthew.
Next.
Besides, what else are you gonna do with a mind like yours?
Matthew! Matthew, son of Alphaeus.
Yes?
Follow me.
Me? Do you have any idea what this guy's done?
Listen! I said to... What are you doing? Have you lost your mind?
Yes.
Hey, Matthew.
That shows you that.
Let's go. I like bawl my eyes out. I feel like we've alluded to this a lot, and I know the cameras are here, but I would love if maybe some of you could share like how you guys like stepped out on faith, because I think your stories are like amazing.
The scene with Matthew and his mother was like, it spoke to me a lot. I've
struggled with my mental health my entire life, as long as I can remember, and often felt like left out and ostracized, and like I did have to change and be different, and that I was only appreciated for the things that I did and not who I was. Being able to, I think that's when my faith came in, is when I was so sick and tired of trying to be what others expected me to be, and that the only thing holding me back was myself. A lot of my resentment that I felt was directed towards other people was really on myself. And so all this time that I had spent thinking I just could never forgive people for what they had done to me, the most powerful thing I did was forgive myself.
I would have similar situations where it's like, after all I've done to other people, I would hate myself for that. But I think to myself, if Jesus can love me, then I should be able to love me. Like, if he can forgive me, why can't I forgive me?
When I decided that like I had enough of like people pleasing and like doing stuff only for other people that like pushed me to the brink, and realizing that I needed help, you know, just like accepting help by itself, like therapy or like mental health help, that was like the moment, like I felt that moment.
It sounds like a crazy decision, like, oh yeah, let me not be bitter, but like, let me like just try to take life and be grateful and be happy. I feel like was one of my greatest decisions that I consciously made. You don't have to go along, I guess, with what society thinks you should be. You can be completely different and actually like be a light in the world, do you know?
Given my, you know, cult background and everything, I feel like the biggest, like, I guess, like, step of faith or whatever was ironically, like, leaving the church that I grew up in.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, hey, maybe, you know, maybe I'll die and go to hell, maybe they're right, you know? But, like, at the end of the day, I wasn't, I don't know, it, like, wasn't, I couldn't do it anymore. I either would have just, like, been even more, like, been even lower and, like, more broken or whatever, or I just had to leave. We had this meeting, literally just money pressuring all the guys. Like, we weren't making enough money, and, like, it was constantly a thing every week. Like, as soon as I got to the point where I was, like, considered old enough to, like, be a man or whatever. So we were having this meeting, and it's, like, the senior, you know, the pastor who, like, founded the church and everything, and he's like, look, you guys said that we would move here, and, like, you would take care of me, you would make sure me and my wife were, you know, protected, and basically, like, putting his financial problems on us. And I'm, like, sitting here, like, torn, because, like, at the same time, I'm, like, maybe, like, I'm not sure entirely if I know God, maybe. And then I'm also, like, processing this, like, guilt from, like, not making enough money for the pastor of the church. I feel like that night, I could never go, like, rejoin the things of the church. At least not that church. I don't know, I knew it then. So then a couple days later, my dad is like, based on your decision, you've decided to leave, so you have 2 weeks to be out. And, like, I was in an awful, like, life situation, but I just, you know, somehow made it through, and, you know, I'm here today on this, like, couch, like, how weird is that?
It's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick.
I love our life.
As do.
Matthew left. To do what? To follow a holy man from the Eastern Ghetto.
Gold. A friend of mine left that for us. You came so close.
We need to adjust our course 30 degrees.
We're not going to the Jordan. We're going through Samaria.
I am rejected by others.
I know. But not by the Messiah.
I'm going to tell everyone. Oh, he must be the Christ!
You told her? And she can tell others? What food?
My food is to do the will of him who sent me, and to accomplish his work.
You told her who you are? So does that mean?
It means we're going to stay here a couple of days. It's been a long time of sowing, but the fields are ripe for harvest.
And so it's time.
Let's go.
Yes!
Trouble.
That was really good.
And what a way to end it with him approaching that woman.
Yeah.
Who's been rejected by everyone, and that's exactly who he is seeking out.
The fact that like Jesus is in here and he's saying, well, I came here for you. I felt as an audience member like she is a representation of everybody that's sitting out there. Like he is showing up for you. And I don't know, sorry, it makes me, it was big. I really liked that.
I feel like the message it gives out is like, you don't have to like look or be or do, you know, certain things in order to be like valuable.
Yeah.
And just like have worth as a person. Like,
Yeah, I love
Jesus is
like
that
the
dude,
end.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm serious. I want to be his friend. Like he's my homie. Like,
So I've been hearing about the series from almost all my friends, right? I see their Instagram stories, I see whatever they post, and they're always like, the chosen, the chosen, chosen. And I'm like, okay, this is probably gonna be another cheesy Christian series, okay? So don't try to push it on me because I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I'm here for that.
Can we get a little hug out?
God bless. God bless.
You guys, wow.
I love you guys.
I love you already.
I think I've always had a good view of Jesus. I always thought he was the man. I love that he came down to earth and was one of us. But with my own experience with Christianity, having to wrestle a lot with it, I think I have a lot of figuring out to do.
I feel like all this conversation is making me feel like I've known you guys for
I know,
a long time.
I know.
You know?
Gen Z group talk scene, take one, Mark.
So we just talk? Yeah, I figured I'd just tell you a little bit about me and my journey and how I got here. When I moved out to Los Angeles, it was essentially to take acting full-time. And so I now no longer had a support system for my income. The bills kept coming, and the breaks didn't. My checking account was overdraft like $100, and I had $20 in my pocket. The only thing I could think to do in that moment was to get on my knees and pray. And it was silence. There was nothing. So, you know what? I'm going to use your words from the Bible, the words that you said. Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, burdened, and I shall give you rest. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So you know what, Jesus? Take some of mine. I'm out, man. I surrender. And I opened my mailbox, and in the mailbox were 4 checks that covered all my bills that were coming due. At that point, I realized that the moment I surrendered and let go of what I thought my life and my career should look like and give it to God, he's like, now you're ready for me to do what I'm going to do with you. 3 months later, Dallas Jenkins called me and said, you want to do this series? I said, I think so. For me, seeing people profoundly and deeply impacted and in many ways healed, to me, it's like, okay, man, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm supposed to do. So that's a little bit about me. I imagine you guys must have some questions.
For such a long time, like, religion and Jesus was something that was used to, like, make me hate myself or, like, to harm me. So I really appreciated how, like, kind you portrayed Jesus.
It's gotten me to seek Christ at an even deeper level.
Being able to accept people at their lowest and when they've done things that seem unforgivable, like, those are the things that I think, regardless of your faith, can really help people.
I thought it was like a well-made show. You did good. I like it.
I really feel like it restored my belief that God is good.
I found a deep relationship,
It's okay.
with the Lord I never had before. And I think it's silly because it's like, oh, a TV show did that, right? But it gave me the nudge.
Growing up, I didn't really have much faith. I did a lot of research on Buddhism, Egyptian culture. So I ended up choosing to believe in many gods. I refuse to believe that there's just one higher power out there. I like to believe that everybody deserves a chance to believe in anything that they want to. That being said, you know, it took a while, and I'm constantly saying, you know, God is good. You know, God bless, blessings. Then why don't you, can I ask you a question? Why don't you say the gods are good? I'm back and forth with it.
Back and forth meaning the phrase or the
phrase.
idea of one versus many?
I would say back and forth with one versus many, if I am to be honest. And, you know, watching The Chosen helped me, you know, open up a little bit more and get a better understanding of who Jesus was.
God is calling you. Yeah. He wants to know you on a deeper level. And so that tug that you're feeling, that's Christ trying to get to know you. That's what that is. So you've got nothing to lose to explore. And as you get closer and closer, you'll know what's true. But I think he's calling you. And I just felt I should share that with you.
Thank you.
I'll pray for you. You guys have been so awesome, so open and vulnerable, and so.
The interaction between me and Jonathan definitely felt like Jesus or God or gods was speaking to me through him.
Come here, brother.
Yes, he plays a character, but he does it in a sense where you can tell that that character is part of him. And so to have him acknowledge me for, you know, my efforts, and he doesn't even know me like that, that was a surreal moment. And that's why, you know, I couldn't hold back the tears. I couldn't, I let them flow. And it was one of those moments that I will truthfully cherish for the rest of my life.
I would say my opinion of Jesus has definitely swayed to the positive side.
Truthfully, I want to say it's changed my perspective on the whole situation with Christianity.
This experience was what I needed right now.
This show really hit me at home.
It was a good show. Like, I enjoyed watching it.
A lot of people, when I went back home and told them, oh yeah, I'm watching the show about Jesus, they were like, Amani, like, are you okay knowing about my background? But I really try to put them onto the show and taking things that Jesus would say from The Chosen and kind of applying that to my own life. So I'll be in traffic and I'll want to honk at someone, but I'm like, oh, what would Jesus do?
I think The Chosen is really created for everyone in mind.
Where, you know, I'm young and I relate to it and I'm connecting to it so intensely. And I think it opens up a door.
I still think Christian content is, for the most part, usually cheesy crap or trying to force a message. So while I do not think that this was that, I still maintain that overarching belief.
I'm so sorry for all my friends who's watching. I didn't want to do this. I mean, I didn't mean to do this, I promise. But it's just because they've been hyping it up so much.
Yeah, I said before that I wouldn't be interested in shows like this just because I feel like they would be so slow and really not hit at home. But this show like really like hit me at home, and like there was a lot of moments where I could really relate to with a bunch of the characters, and like just shot me back in time 10, 15 years, like with my brothers and sisters, and just really like enjoying life, huh? So I'm out here enjoying life. I'm so happy about it.
It's so interesting to think about if Christianity added to the pressure of perfection that my mom put on me, because so many expectations, so many more rules about how to live correctly. But honestly, when I think back to when I was a kid, I don't think that is what I was really concerned about. If anything, I think the reason I'm so sure that I want to believe in this God is because I think it's what got me through a lot of that. I have to do so much of the homework about maybe like apologetics or reading more into scripture or whatever it is like intellectually I need to do to make sure that this is the truth. But at the same time, like so much of believing in God is faith. And I feel okay right now sitting here and being like, I have faith that maybe I can't connect all the dots and I can't, you know, draw A to B to C in the Bible. But I have faith that God is watching out for me.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello, thank you. Good morning, I'm good. How are you? Good morning. Enjoy yourself. Thank you. They had, you know, people go up and they said, if you need prayer right now, you know, go up and we'll pray with you. And I saw this woman go up and she was crying, and I don't know what she was going through, but it made me emotional, because I'm in a really good place now with my life, and to see someone that's going through so much struggle and really needing that prayer, it just got me. It's just that, like, I've been there, I get that.
It's going to be the big reveal of my involvement with this series, and I am like beyond excited to see their faces.
This is my apartment right here. You guys can come right in. You know, I got a couch in the kitchen. Who got a couch in their kitchen?
She's popping popcorn. She's a special way of doing it. She just gets the corn kernels and puts them in a brown paper bag and microwaves it, and it's actually amazing.
Hi, everybody. Okay.
I own literally everything in this room. I've worked really, like all the spices. I got all those spices. I bought all these pans. You know, I feel like an adult or something.
So I think most of you know, either from my stories or from what I've told you, is that I've been going to Utah for this documentary.
We brought together 9 Gen Z strangers from around the country. We said, please come binge our multi-season show.
Okay, it was a show about Jesus' life.
Okay, I'm actually like nervous then, but really excited right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let me tell you a story.
Oh my God. Shut up! Shut up! I love The Chosen.
What would you guys think about if we watched the first episode of The Chosen tonight?
I would love it.
Love
it. I'm on board.
I've been wondering. So.
I think what was was really interesting is it really centered around his disciples. You know who they are. Okay. Name a disciple.
Peter.
John.
Adam.
That's pretty good.
So, am I worried that my daughter thinks I'm a bad person? I don't think so. I just want her to take something good from it. Because of what I'm doing right now, the legacy that I'm building right now.
So this individual, we could not keep away. They moved heaven and earth to be here, but we get them for like 10 minutes.
Oh, Dallas!
Wow!
Sounds like they've been trying to get you to watch the show and required us to fly you out to Utah to watch this show. So
I'm crying. I'm actually crying.
I hope you've given like a really big, I told you so, Audrey. Watching your response to the show has been one of the most moving things in my whole experience with The Chosen.
I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be my father that's non-existent. I want to be the father, the number one father in my daughter's life. Back when I was this legitimate monster, I didn't think that I had the chance to be forgiven. Once I forgave myself for my past mistakes, slowly but surely, other people are forgiving me as well.
Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine.
I just love it. I just love it so much. And again, I want to invite you to be not only gracious and grateful for their vulnerability, for their willingness to be raw and authentic in an arena and in an ecosystem and in a family that they aren't used to and didn't know all of what they were getting into when they got into this. But you're not only going to be grateful, but you're going to express that. And I want them to know just how great of a family they are now part of. And as I said before the doc, there are some mature topics covered in this documentary, some things that might reflect an experience or a perspective or a belief that you may not share. But the public comment sections on social media, we are going to set an example for how these conversations should go. We're going to avoid the toxicity that you so often see. We're going to avoid the need to feel like you have to make a point or prove something or convert somebody in a comment section on YouTube or Facebook, someone you don't even know. So we are going to model love and graciousness and self-control and hospitality. And I know that I can count on you for that. So. But man, I'm so grateful for them and their willingness to share their stories. And there's more, of course. There's more that will come down the road as we continue this relationship with them. And they actually just recently, from what I understand, watched season 2 and are apparently, from what I hear, loving that. Amanda and I are now consider ourselves friends with several of them and are continuing that relationship. It's just such a wonderful thing. And we really do consider them part of the Chosen family. And so there's more to come with that. But yeah, the updates since this was filmed are just, there's nothing of import other than just that we have just continued this relationship and the friendship and the bond, and it will continue forever. And I can't wait for you to see more in the future of how these stories unfold. But this is, why do I say that this is important? Why do I say this Gen Z doc is so important? It's because over the next few years, the focus of our initiatives of getting this show out to 1 billion people, getting this show out to more people, is going to be centered around, no, I shouldn't say centered around, but a big focus, a big initiative is going to be Gen Z. It's going to be groups of people who otherwise wouldn't normally watch a show like this. Those 9 folks in that documentary, if they heard of The Chosen, they still probably wouldn't watch it because they probably wouldn't know why they should, or it's not on the traditional channels where they would typically watch stuff. And so our efforts are going to be doubled and tripled and quadrupled in making sure that The Chosen gets in front of more people, that gets in front of more eyeballs. And this, even if it's a slow growth, and even if it's a financial investment that doesn't have immediate payoff. We're not doing this primarily for the financial payoff, and I know you aren't either. When you choose to pay for this show, as you know, we don't have a big studio supporting the show. We don't have, with most shows, they're run or owned or produced by massive corporations, massive studios, television networks, streaming platforms that have massive amount of capital, and so they can invest in the show even when it's not immediately bringing back income. Well, we don't have that, and so we're not a nonprofit, we're not a ministry. We just simply say you can choose to pay for this show or not, and less than 5% of the people who watch the show pay for it, and that's perfectly fine. We don't demand it, we don't beg you for it or anything like that. But when you do pay it forward, when you do choose to pay for the show, it's not only to finance future episodes and seasons. It's not only to give us the ability to do this show and to even do videos like this, but it's to spread the show. It's to market the show. And our efforts are going to be increased in reaching this demographic and people groups that otherwise would not have known about this show. And that takes time, it takes money, it takes resources and efforts that go above and beyond what we normally do. And but we think it's important, and I think this documentary is proof of why it's so important. We want these conversations to start. We want this engagement to take place. This is stuff that must happen, not only in order for the show to expand, but also for the issues raised and the topics discussed. They're so vital. And we've said all along that our gifts that we produce, like this shirt that I'm wearing, are designed to start a conversation. And we don't always know where the conversation is going to end up, but that's part of the beauty of it. And so thank you for helping. In fact, we got some questions have been coming in, and I'll get to some of these after I'm going to show you the new scene from season 3. But one of the questions came from Bradley, said, did my pay it forward money go towards making this documentary instead of season 3? Now, so the answer is yes. This documentary was paid for from pay it forward money out of our marketing budget. But it's not, I wouldn't say instead of season 3. It's in addition to season 3. So as you know, pay it forward money goes not only to the financing of the seasons, but to the marketing efforts as well. Now that said, our company, The Chosen LLC, the company that does all this and that puts on this live stream, that has now coming up over 35 employees and kind of helps just year round put all our social media together, none of that is financed out of the pay it forward money. That only comes from gifts. So I'm going to do this real quick, and then I'm going to show you the new scene from season 3. Tonight is the very last night, tonight at midnight. If you're watching this after Sunday night, unfortunately you won't have the opportunity to get this shirt. One of my favorites, the Get Used to Different Red limited edition. It's the last night to get the wristbands. It says The Chosen Army, it says Get Used to Different, it says The Chosen, it says Come and See, it says Binge Jesus. These wristbands for only $5. After tonight, they go back to regular price. And then the hats. These hats were limited edition. There's the teal version. There's the black version. Noah James is still around. You got one of these, right? Which one?
Did.
You don't have this one.
Yes.
Come on and show them how good you look in the teal hat.
Look how good I look.
Yeah, see?
I do like this hat.
Yeah, it does look cool. Yeah.
All right, we'll see you
later.
Thank
you. And then, so this is the last night for those gifts, they're going away. But then we've got it's finally here, the first Chosen mug. You've been asking for it in this really cool box. You've been asking for it for so long. This, unfortunately, will not ship right away. It will ship separately, but the shipping will be free, separate from whatever you buy. If you buy only this, then you will pay for shipping. But if you buy this with other stuff, it'll come separately and we won't charge you for the shipping. It says, look up. Nice reminder every morning of what Jesus said to Mary Magdalene. And when you do take a sip, it says The Chosen. And the new Come and See. This is the women's version. I'm going to show you the dude's version. Come and See World Tour shirt with Jesus and some of the disciples on the back. It's got all the different locations that they're hitting. So I love this shirt. And then what I think is pretty cool, welcome mat, really high quality welcome mat. Get Used to Different, really cool. So anyway, enough of that. Chosengifts.com. So we got a note, and I want to close with this. I want to read this to you. This is really, really moved me, and I think it'll move you as well, and show you again why and how your Pay It Forward efforts go to reach people who otherwise would not be able to see The Chosen. So this is, I'll just keep it anonymous for now, but she's wrote this in the Chosen fan club. I've been in this group from its start. I was an investor before a single episode was ever filmed. As you may know, season 1 of The Chosen was financed entirely by 19,000 people who invested in the show. They actually have an ownership stake in this series. Before a single episode was ever filmed. I've been excited about The Chosen since I originally saw The Shepherd, which is the short film that I made for my church that ended up being the pilot episode of The Chosen. I heard the story and bought in immediately to the loaves and fish. So she provided her. Oh, so she says, so I gave a loaf. Oh, because I had shared my story of the loaves and fish. So I gave a loaf because our idea is we provide the loaves and fish and God feeds the 5,000. When season 1 came out, I excitedly told my kids about it and tried to get them to watch. As this group became a community, I asked for prayers for my son Josh, who experienced a brain injury 11 years ago and was cycling through depression and alcohol addiction. Literally thousands of you have prayed for him. That was 3 years ago. He never got better. He would have moments, but he would get a DUI and go to jail, get out, promise to try harder, then go down the bad path again. We tried medication, therapy, counseling, classes, everything, only for him to end up with a probation violation or another DUI and find himself in jail again. Dear Lord, the tears I've cried. I'm a parent. I have 4 kids, and I haven't gone through this, but I can only imagine. He is in jail now, and he called me a few days ago with an, quote, only God could do this, unquote, story. Back during COVID, I guess they got a grant for generic iPad tablets because inmates were confined to their rooms. Now, they just assigned those tablets to the inmates. The Chosen was included in an app on the tablet. Well, and I won't give his name, J, the letter J, with time to kill, decided to finally watch it. Night 1, episode 1, he watched several times. He got his cellmate to watch with him. First one cellmate, then they set up the tablet and watched it, all 3 of them together. They called me to ask about Mary and being healed of demons from episode 1. I answered their questions. They started planning to have evenings. After free time, they'd go back to their cell and watch the next episode as a group in their cell. He started telling everyone in jail about it. He loved it so much. He knew of it because I've mentioned it for years. So he got literally every single inmate, all caps, to watch The Chosen on their tablets. They're all asking him questions about Jesus, and several times a day he calls me to ask about a scene or the Bible verse or whatever. He is literally being the teacher in jail. He said The Chosen is going viral in there. I'm stunned and shocked and amazed. He said he wants that bad, and then I'll A, and I love how she used money symbols instead of the S to hide what that word is. But because there's children watching, I won't say it. That bad A Binge Jesus shirt that the director wears. Not wearing it tonight, unfortunately, but we have obviously several shirts at thechosengifts.com that say Binge Jesus. And of course, we're sending him some. He also said he'd love to do the devotional. We have devotional books as well that my wife was the primary writer on and her writing partner. So we're sending, of course, them a bunch of devotional books. He's excited for season 2. As luck would have it, I have every single item here. I buy things as they come out just to support the show, and so I have both seasons' devotionals, tons of shirts, and season 2 on DVD/Blu-ray. Jay said to me, quote, I actually believe that this trip to jail is God's way of slapping me and telling me to get it together so we can get on with seeing God's purpose for my life. I can't wait to see what it is. This might be it, y'all. Our prayers may finally be answered. We aren't sure when he will get out, but his head is in a good place, and he's being the jail chaplain right now and is actually finding purpose in jail because The Chosen led him there. Not to jail. Chosen didn't lead him to jail. Maybe it did. Who would have thought that 3 years ago, when a little video short came out and I decided to invest a small amount, that I would be investing in the thing that would one day inspire my son to be free from addiction and find God's purpose for his life. I brought my little loaf, and here he is using it to save my son and the whole jail. Incredible, absolutely incredible, incredible. I have no words to describe any of this. We want to keep that up. That's why you pay it forward. That's why we make the show, is we want to reach people. And look, we don't know what the outcome is going to be. That's not up to us. We just want people to see the authentic story that took place in first century. And God will do the rest if he chooses. Thank you for that. And as she just reminded us, remember, it is not your job to feed the 5,000. It is only to provide loaves and fish. Have a good night.